Let's talk about sex. Not like that, but I'm going to be talking about what sex should be and how we in this world today have been perverting it and making it more into like a pleasure seeking thing. How it's actually supposed to be a deeper connection with someone closer to you. This is something that I've been thinking about and that's been pretty interesting to me. Yesterday, I was doing some research. You don't need to look too deep into it, but I learned about this thing called erogenous zones. And basically what erogenous zones are is when you touch, like, for example, I'm a guy. When I touch a woman on certain parts of her body, it sexually arouses her and actually turns her on instead of just touching her private parts, right? So the thing with these erogenous zones, it's very interesting. It pretty much is all around the body. All around the body, it will release dopamine and serotonin and all of those good happy hormones that make you feel good when you're in that sexual kind of I guess sexual tension, or like you just have a deeper relationship and connection with someone on a very romantic level, let's say. So anywhere you can think of, obviously like the lips, the mouth, the because of when you kiss someone, right? Back of the ears has some, the neck has some. That's how people get hickeys. It's because the back of the neck, people like suck on it and do weird stuff. But like I'm not gonna criticize them for it. Like the head, because the hair, when you put your hands in their hair, the back and their shoulders, because there's a lot of nerves in the shoulders, and then the upper back and in the lower back, the abdomen, obviously the chest, because that's obvious. That's obvious, right? And then in on the thighs, inner thighs, and even outer thighs as well, and even on the legs and on the back of the leg and her feet. So pretty much everywhere on the body, there's some sort of an erogenous zone, which is basically a non-sexual part that gets turned on, that kind of turns you on sexually when it's touched, when it's kind of caressed or whatever, right? And what that made me think of is the whole idea of sex. How sex has kind of nowadays become this thing where it's like, no, you just want the pleasure, you just want to penetrate, right? You don't want to actually you don't want to actually have anything good. But what sex actually is, it's not just the act of doing the thing, the birds and the bees. No. It's everything that kind of surrounds it. It's the romanticism, the foreplay, the the romance and the actual deep love that comes between a man and a woman, two partners coming together and joining together in one, right? I truly believe that, like, when I've seen these erogenous zones, I'm like, oh, to me in my head, it's like, oh, God created human beings to truly love in this way. It's not just supposed to be a transactional thing. It's supposed to be, you're supposed to be touching each other, loving each other, truly being one with each other before you even get to that point where you're actually doing the thing, right? And you want to be turning each other on and actually enjoying that moment with each other when you're in a deep loving relationship. It's not supposed to be something that's just a transactional thing. And when I learned about these erogenous zones, it kind of like it really like made me realize like a lot about how sex has just been ruined by kind of modern society, by culture, by porn culture, and all that kind of stuff. And it's like all that stuff is not realistic, right? And now people live their lives where they're just pursuing the pleasure, right? They don't want the love, they just want the sex, right? They just want something, right? People don't realize that actually it's even better. It's designed to be even better and even more sensational and satisfying when there's a deeper love and connection involved versus when you're just doing a one night stand or when you're just watching something happen, right? It's way deeper and way more fulfilling and loving when you have a deeper connection with someone, when you're kind of going through and being romantic in that way. There's a big difference between romance and sex, right? You can have both, but you can have one without the other for sure, right? You can have sex without the romance and you're just doing it just to do it, just to feel the pleasure, just to feel the feeling, right? Or you can have romance without sex because you've chosen that you're going to honor God's covenant and you're not just going to have sex with anyone. You can be romantic with someone. But sex is best served, and it's the best really when you kind of incorporate these things, when you incorporate more romance, when you incorporate just being one with someone. So from that kind of godly Christian perspective that I have in my life, it's made me realize, yeah, it's like actually this is such a practical way to see the design of the relationship between man and woman as special. It is something special. It is a covenant. It is something greater just than just penetrating, right? Than just going in and being an animal, being a monkey, and going and doing the thing, right? It's supposed to be something way deeper than that, way more spiritually important and significant. And it's been designed that way. Your bodies are designed that way to feel that, right? When a man massages a woman's feet, they feel these nerves, because the nerves, just scientifically, like, there are nerves around the body that make these feelings show, right? That actually expose these feelings a little bit and make you feel a certain way. And I think that's directly connected to what God intended for sex, what His intended purpose for the human and a man and woman to connect in that way. And it's just been like, yes, it's so unfortunate that now we just live in a world where that's very rare. That's a very rare thing, that you have that connection, and it's mostly just for pleasure, right? Mostly just for the pleasure, right? Like, even massaging her feet, massaging her scalp, massaging her calves, all of those things, like will kind of translate sexually in some way, if you have the right environment, if you have the right situation. Of course, if you're with the right person, if you're both kind of in the right moment, it actually, like, it perfectly relates to it. And it's like, you're not even trying to be sexual, and you're just leaning into it, right? Like, and that's like, so I can't really explain it in another way other than the fact that it's like, God has designed man and woman to love, not to lust after each other. And unfortunately, now we live in a world where all we do is lust after each other, and you're just thinking about what the feeling would be like, rather than what the actual relationship with the person would be like. My opinion, and I haven't ever been in a relationship, so my opinion could just be completely wrong, right? I don't know how it truly works. Yeah, I'm just kind of looking at the things that I'm seeing, and as I learned about these erogenous zones, it's made me think a little bit deeper on these things. Through my interpretation of it, if you are in a relationship with someone and you've spent a long time with that person, and you know that you truly love them and they love you back, and then you finally decide, instead, like, you abstained for a long period, you, instead of just getting straight into the sex, you abstained, and you finally decided, okay, we're going to do this, and if the moment was finally right for both of you, that sex is way more enjoyable than just a sex that you have after like one or two dates, or with the person that you just met that night, or whatever, right? That sex with someone who you have a deeper relationship with is just, by definition, way more beautiful and way more fulfilling, and just probably even a better feeling than that quick thing that you're doing with someone you just met. I could be wrong. I could absolutely be incorrect, right? But based on the things I've been seeing, and of course based on things that I've learned from a godly perspective, from a Christian perspective, but also just maybe from a more practical perspective, I kind of have the idea that it is more fulfilling to have a deeper relationship, a long lasting relationship, than something that is just kind of quick and rushed, let's say. So I still have to learn in my life. I still have to go through these things, and I haven't gone through them yet. And well, I'm hoping that in the future I might be able to be blessed with being able to go through just a beautiful, loving, romantic relationship one day. But as of right now, that's what I look at, and that's when I'm like realizing that it's like, oh yeah, like sex. We're in a culture where sex is like the standard. Like, that's the thing. It's like, you get to a certain point in a relationship, you have to have sex. That's kind of the relationship that this world has been showing, and it's been seeing as normal. But the truth is, that actually isn't the case. You want to build a relationship with someone first. You want to actually love the person first, and then that love gets translated into a deeper bond where you're actually becoming one. Right? You are becoming one. You are going into, literally, like, try not to get too vulgar here, but like, you're literally going into each other, and you're becoming one flesh, right? And that is what the covenant between man and woman is, that God has intended. We live in a world where that is far from the case anymore, right? So I honestly struggle to see how people can just have a bunch of bodies, right? They can have 100,000 bodies, because when you have sex, it's a deep emotional connection, right? I don't know how people can have this, and like, and I'm sure most of these people, they feel shame, right? They feel this internal shame that they're not realizing, that they're not revealing, because whenever you have that, you have a deeper emotional connection with that person, just by human nature. So when you have that deep emotional connection with hundreds of people, thousands of people, it ruins that connection, and it ruins, like, it makes you numb, right? It makes you numb to the thing that is supposed to be more fulfilling and more loving and more just beautiful in this life. So I just don't know how people can do it and be okay with themselves. And I see a lot of these, like, these OnlyFans people, they're kind of moving away from it. I'm seeing certain stories where it's happening, where it's like it's interesting. I'm not gonna say names, I'm not gonna call people out, but it's interesting how they made the choice. They decided that they would go and do this thing. They did this thing. They made a lot of money, and then they've gone back on their decision, and now they're asking that all of their videos get deleted off the internet. But the truth is, that's not how it works, buddy. That's not how it works, sweetheart. That's that's the sad reality. You made that decision that you were going to do that with your body, and now you regret that decision because you realize, oh, like I actually, like, this is actually pretty bad for me, and life actually has more to it. And like, now you want the videos to get removed, but it's like, well, you made that decision, and now it's basically on the internet for the rest of the time, right? It's like, that's kind of their fault, right? But I'm finding that a lot of them are kind of going back on it, realizing, oh, like, just that was never fulfilling from the start, right? They made their money, but then they realized, oh, the money actually wasn't worth it, right? So I'm seeing these things and learning about these kind of concepts. Like, I'm not going to be going too deep into it. I'm going to kind of wrap it up here, honestly, because even now I've just kind of been talking a little bit more about it. But the truth is, and the message that I have for this episode is a sexual relationship should not just be a give and take. It should absolutely be something deeper, something more, right? Sex in and of itself is not just the give and take. It is the everything surrounding it. The bond between man and woman is more important than the actual act of having sex. And when you are in a relationship with someone, let that be the thing you think about. Don't, like, even if even if you're with someone who's hot, who has the features, let's say, don't lust after them. Truly love the person that you're with, whoever you're with, regardless of who you are with in your life. Truly focus on loving them, not lusting after them. And the love will translate into something more long lasting, more fulfilling in your life, and the lust will just be something quick that you do and that you probably feel a lot of shame for after. The shame and the guilt, you see many people in this world with shame and with guilt when it comes to lust versus long lasting love. So that's what God calls us to do, of course, to love your wife, not and love your woman, not lust after them, not don't fornicate, right? Fornicate is a very interesting word that I might want to increase in my vocabulary, just because it's something very, very prevalent in the Bible and how it's always rebuked, but we live in a world where it is just so common. And just looking practically at the things that point to sex as a deeper thing rather than just a quick, just a quick give and take thing. And it is something that, I'm just thinking about it, right? I'm trying not to think about it from, like, a sexual perspective. I'm thinking about it truly from, like, the godly perspective, how I want to live my life, how I want to have a relationship with someone in the future. And these are the things that make the most sense to me. So it was just an interesting thing that I wanted to get off my chest a little bit, an interesting thing that I just wanted to talk about, kind of the state of the world and the state of relationships between man and woman. That's why a lot of people get divorced. That's why a lot of people can't find that one, because they're prioritizing things that aren't as important instead of prioritizing what God wants from you. So let that be the foundation in all things, in relationships and in everything else in your life. And maybe you'll find that things just get way better. Try it out. Try it out. That's all I say. Try Jesus out. That is all I say to you, the person that might not be so into their faith. Try it out and see just how beautiful your life can become. So that's all I gotta say for today. I'm not going to go any deeper on these topics. That's really all I got. It was just an interesting thing that I wanted to talk about. And honestly, it's like, you can tell that I'm starting to run out of ideas for this show. There's only a couple months left of the 365 days. But yes, it's a 365 podcast. I make an episode every day for a whole year. We're kind of at the tail end here. I've made many great episodes on this show. So if somehow you've managed to still be here by this point, and you're here at the end of this episode, I ask that you do leave a like, you subscribe on YouTube, you follow on Spotify, even if this episode wasn't maybe one of those episodes that was so high quality. But there are many other great high quality episodes that you can go check out that I'll leave in the cards, I'll leave them in the description, as I do every single day on this show. So, yes, the ultimate message is not about the sex, right? It's not to prioritize the sex, it is to prioritize a relationship with God, and it's to see God in the person that you are with romantically. and to glorify God in your relationship rather than just doing the thing that is quick and easy and emotionally pleasurous. Don't focus on that pleasurous thing. Focus on the thing that is more long lasting. That's really the message behind all of this. That is the ultimate message. And that's the case with really anything in life, not just relationships, not just your sexual life. So that's all I gotta say. That's basically the ultimate message of this video. So show your support in any way that you can. I appreciate you if you are still here watching for some reason. But that's all I gotta say for today. Get out there and enjoy your life today. That is it. If you're still here watching, you should definitely not continue to watch. Go out there and enjoy your life. That's it. And glorify God in all that you do. Thank you for watching this episode of the 365 podcast. As always, I'll see you tomorrow for the next one.